So that actually leads me to my next question then. So if you could go back and give young Josh back then some advice, like what would be the advice that you would give?
What in terms of songwriting?
Whatever you want.
Probably relax a bit.
Okay.
Don't expect too much.
Yeah.
Because that just puts pressure on.
That's a good one.
Writing wise, I think also relax a bit.
Yeah.
Try and write the best lyric when you're 16. Because I've noticed, I don't know about you guys with writing, but like when you're writing the lyrics, it doesn't necessarily make sense at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it works.
Yeah.
And that's how you get like mental imagery and stuff like that.
Totally.
Yeah. So I think just don't put the pressure on yourself when you're starting.
I think there is like a natural like evolution of your songs. I don't think you ever just stay in that same lane like all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's an opportunity thing.
Aye, because I mean, I think, well, for me anyway. I mean, I used to my early lyrics were like very obvious. Like it was so obvious the point I was trying to make. Whereas like now, you know, you do kind of get a wee bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to just say poetic, but you just kind of get. There's other ways to say things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was a mistake that I certainly made when I was younger.
Yeah. I mean, on the other hand, there's also, you don't want to sound like a pretentious novel.
Well, also true.
But, yeah.
Cool.
Yes. You grow into it.
Absolutely. And what about you, Connor? What advice would you give young Connor back then?
So I think something that's very important and something that I'd probably tell myself and something that I would tell any musician is be very careful who you bring into your band and how involved that person becomes, because there's a lot of bands that I know of, and there's a lot of experience that I've had in the bands that I've been in my many years beyond all of you here apparently, where you just bring in the wrong person and it does cause problems, and sometimes it causes problems between you and other people that you didn't have problems with.
Yeah. And
being in a band, we're all aware here, you're all working for, if you're lucky, not very much money. And so it's got to be a collective, it's got to be people that you can stand to be around, people who are going to work together. And I think that you do really need to be careful who gets involved with your band, and that's not just band members, that's also managers, promoters.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that's a very important thing. It's just like being careful who gets involved. I've seen bands get managers involved that have ended up crumbling because the managers got in people's ears and
right, okay. Yeah.
It's not good.
I think it's also tricky as well, or it's certainly frustrating when you do have maybe even somebody in your band who doesn't quite see the vision the same as you, or they're maybe not as committed. That's kind of that's one thing I've learned is like it's kind of unrealistic to expect everybody to be absolutely as committed as you, like, because if you're the main guy, then nobody's going to be as committed as you, and that's something you kind of need to deal with, you know what I mean? And that was something I've kind of struggled with.
I think it's also like not, like, this sounds bad, right, but and I'm not a dictator, right, but like to treat your band like a democracy can sometimes be a mistake, because a lot of the work is done by one person or one or two people out of however many are in your band, and why should people who don't do the same amount of work get the same amount of say?
Fair.
That sounds harsh.
No, I get your point.
Like, you know, you're sitting trying to get work done, and then somebody's just sat there in the corner, not doing anything like that. I don't agree.
I would imagine every band's different.
Where have you been?
I would imagine every band's different. No, I suppose there's different dynamics in every band. You know what I mean? But I totally get your point, and I don't even disagree with it. What were you?
Probably like don't be afraid to like let go a bit.
Okay.
Especially like in my earlier years of gigging, I was always behind piano or guitar, and that was definitely like a safety crutch thing. Like it's only with this band that I'm like just me, and even it's only in the last like 2 months of gigging now that I've actually like I'm properly trying to like get into it and move about and like go outside of comfort zones that I didn't really allow myself to go out of in the past decade of gigging. So there's less to be afraid of, but I think it was just more of a, oh no, what if I trip? What if I can't sing as well because I'm moving about too much?
If you trip, just sing on the floor.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. The last 2 gigs, I dropped the mic at all of them. So just had to go with it.
Yeah.
Just dive in. That's what I would say.
Cool. I like that one. What about you, man?
I think the one I was thinking about kind of ties in with yours, where it's like, if you're going to take this seriously, like if it's a real thing that you want to do and put effort and money into, put more research into how music works from a business point of view. But also that ties into what you were saying is like, it doesn't matter if it's a band member, but especially music business people, like suss out who these people are first. There's so many people out there who just want money and they'll tell you anything. And besides that, there's nice people, and then there's, I think we can all agree, we've met not nice people who, for whatever reason.
It's a very nice way of saying it.
Yeah, exactly. yeah. And sometimes it's not just money they want. You know, there's people out there that will, they're out for whatever it is they're out for. But just be careful about people, because at the end of the day, like you're saying, like if it's a bandmate, that can make or break what you are all working towards and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd say that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Be careful, kids. There's a lot of weirdos and wrong
A lot of fake managers out there.
Yes. I feel like that was very pointed there, mate. Like,
not anyone that I've worked with personally, just to make it clear.
Be careful out there, people. Brilliant, man. So, do you remember the first albums that you've ever had when you were younger, Rebecca?
Like the most prominent albums from back then for me would be like Ta-Da by the Scissor Sisters.
All right, okay, yeah.
Like it was Ultimate Kylie, which was just all of her hits in one place, as well as like In Your Honor by the Foo Fighters and Songs for the Deaf, Queens of the Stone Age. That's what I would say is my
good choices.
Collaboration.
Very eclectic as well. Brilliant. So what was it about those albums that kind of drew you to those artists?
I mean, I guess like not really having much of a choice, because they're like back in kind of 2005-ish time, and I was 4 for that year.
Okay,
so
yeah.
It's a lot of like parents' influence, like coming in on that. But I don't know, they just get that kind of things that just stick with you, and it's still all of that I still enjoy to this day. Nothing
wrong with that. I love it. Josh, what about you, mate?
I actually can't remember the first album.
Really?
Yeah. Oh well, actually, no, I can.
Go for
it. It is a wee bit. It's like, Cars, the movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Life's a Highway.
Please tell me it's the soundtrack to Cars.
It's not the soundtrack, but it's the Rascal Flatts album.
Oh, right, okay.
Right, so I had that.
I would have preferred the soundtrack to Cars, to be honest.
That's what I was waiting for. They said the Cars movie, I'm like that.
On vinyl, just like still not open, like it's just sitting there.
I think that was the first album, but I also remember, what's the album that Orange Crush is on? REM.
Oh,
because I listened to that.
Is it Automatic for the People? No.
No clue.
It might. No, I don't think it is Automatic for the People. It's going to annoy me.
You're going to hit out at the end of this and just be like...
Yeah.
I remember listening to that on like my dad's iPod.
Yeah.
Old thing.
REM are a bit underrated now, man, I think.
Yeah?
They've not been a bit... I know they've done now, but yeah, I don't think they don't get enough love. REM are good, man.
Well, it was just Orange Crush.
Oh, just that.
Yeah.
All right, so
you
think they're shy.
It was just that.
All right, cool. What about you, man?
Well, aside from Green Day, that was my first album that I ever bought.
Yeah.
The Poison by Bill for My Valentine.
Okay.
Which was that was the first like album where I listened and I went, oh, bands can sound like that.
Mm.
Like screaming and choruses, and just like that was definitely eye-opening for me. And then another album that was really big for me, which is like a fair bit away from that, is All That You Can't Leave Behind by U2. I was going to say the U2. U2. Like, I don't know, there's just something about that album. I revisit it and I'm like...
That's the one with like Miracle Drug and... Yeah, it's a great album.
Brilliant album.
Yeah, man.
They're like in the airport or something like that on the front of it.
I do love a big chorus. I love a big chorus. And
people hate on U2, man, and I'm like...
Same, mate. I was brought up on them, man. So it's always been like... I'm all about them.
I think they're class.
Yeah, even we can all agree Bono is a bit of a...
Of course we can. Of course we can.
I think that's why people hate them, but...
Listen, if people still listen to Lost Prophets, do you know what I mean?
Do they?
Yeah! Check it! No,
well, I do know people still listen to R. Kelly, man. So if people are still listening to R. Kelly, people's listening to Lost Prophets.
I mean, I Believe I Can Fly is a banger.
Aye, but we can't listen to it.
Well, you can. No, we just don't need to tell anybody on the internet that we listen to it.
And you can't watch the start of Space Jam.
Oh yeah, yeah, very true.
That's how I like found that song. I was like, this is a great song, and then for years I was like, I love that song, and then found out who R. Kelly was, and yeah, remember how I said about like weird people in music?
Yes, yes, definitely.
The Holy Grail of
again, watch out, people. There's a
R.
lot
Kellys
of
out there.
people peeing on fans and stuff like that. if you know, you know. So, what was yours, man?
Well, obviously
R. Kelly.
R. Kelly, yeah. Every album. No,
Space Jam soundtrack.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Genuinely, probably at one point. No, well, apart from like, obviously, Number of the Beast is one thing, but I remember like my uncle super got me into music, and he went over into Ireland to play with a band there, and he just gave me like hundreds of like LPs and CDs, like Steely Dan. Like,
right.
Got me addicted to Steely Dan young, and then he is like, I found obviously Iron Maiden. He was like, all right, so you're at this stage, okay, here's Pretty Hate Machine by 9 Inch Nails, and all that kind of stuff. I think like 9 Inch Nails was proper. I was like, I don't care about Iron Maiden like Trent Reznor is. That's what like, I think that's kind of like why we probably affected like the music that we do now as well, because I got sick of doing rocky metal stuff. And I wanted to do something different, and then I got really into like synths and Depeche Mode and stuff like that.
Oh, you're speaking my language, mate.
I went and seen them, I think it was like last month, or the end of January. So yeah, and it was like one of the best things I've ever done in my life. I was just sitting at the front, just like, oh my god.
Very cool. They're very cool.
I want to be them when I'm that age, man.
Oh, mate, I'm right there. I'm right there with you. And I was actually going to ask that because a lot of what you're saying is like your roots are very kind of rock orientated, but that's definitely not your band now.
No. But there's still, it's quite funny because I think like me and Ashley were talking about this recently, with a few different people in music and that in Glasgow, where they were saying it's funny because a lot of people that are into rock and metal are like, that have got in touch with us, like they are like, oh, we love your stuff and blah 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 blah. I'm like, I wonder why that is. Like, people say, like, I think someone wrote something about one of our singles and they were like, oh, it's very like industrial.
Okay.
Like, is it industrial? I don't know. And then Ash was like, yeah, it is. There's definitely Trent Reznor there. I was like, okay. I didn't know that when I was writing it, but okay. Like,
I hear, I can hear that. And I can definitely hear shades of Depeche Mode in your tunes as well, man. You can absolutely hear
Everyone
that.
says that Depeche Mode in churches.
I think, and I was going to say, but I think, and it's probably lazy on my part because I think as soon as you hear a synth, you're like, oh, well, that's Depeche Mode, isn't it? That's how it goes. But
even though there was God knows how many bands before that,
of course,
done that, like Giorgio Moroder and all that stuff and that,
yeah, nice one, man. And Rebecca, what about you? First.
Still the Sister Sisters?
Oh, it was the Sister Sisters.
Did
I get on the table? Have I done everybody? Yes, I have. Brilliant. Thank you. Sorry about that.
We moved on to something else. I'm blanked out. I was like, I don't know what the question was.
I like the fear. You're like,
is there another question? He just wants to talk about Scissor Sisters. That's it.
I mean, I'm all up for it.
Brilliant. No, that's good, man. That's good. Right. So, what about first gigs then? We'll stay in this. As I called it earlier, the reflection section. Why don't we talk about your first ever gigs? So, Josh, we'll start with you, mate.
I think mine was probably Wickerman.
Oh, right, cool.
I don't know, I can't remember what year it was. I think maybe 2012.
Right.
Something like that. It was the year like Primal Scream were there, and they wouldn't play any of their old songs, and everyone hated them. It's that kind of year.
What? Say that again?
They wouldn't play any of their old songs.
Seriously?
Yeah.
All right, so it was
like
just
a big thing about it.
Oh, right, wow.
But that was Temperance Movement.
Yeah.
They were my first kind of
nice one, man.
band that I saw live.
Cool.
With a crazy frontman.
So what age were you then?
11.
That's pretty cool for an 11-year-old, mate.
Mental.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was good fun.
Yeah, man. Nice one. Rebecca, what about you?
It was the Pussycat Dolls. No,
Pussycat Dolls. Okay, cool.
But it was the Pussycat Dolls with Rihanna as the support act.
That's decent.
Yeah. It was good.
That's not bad. That's good.
A long time ago.
Okay. Craig, what about you, man? What's your first gig?
Slipknot.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was Slipknot and Avenged Sevenfold in the one night. I think at the SEC in 2008.
Right.
I think it was, and I was not prepared.
Yeah.
My sister took me, and she was into Boyzone and all this stuff. She was like, "I'll go see Slipknot. They're those guys with the masks." And we went in, and she was like, "Oh no!" And I was like, "Oh, no." And She was like, let's go to the front, it'll be fine. And then a mosh pit started. Neither of us knew what that was. And I was just like...
Why is everyone fighting?
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I was like, oh, I'm going to die. Really good, but also like I didn't know what tinnitus was or tinnitus, however you pronounce it.
Oh,
Didn't know what that was. Obviously at the time, walked out and it was just so yeah.
I can tell you that is, mate. I've literally got that permanently for life now.
Yeah.
Do you know my first mosh pit was Placebo of all bands?
Placebo?
Yeah.
They get mosh
I was 12, 12-year-old Placebo mosh pit. Couldn't believe it. And also had never been in one before, so yeah, fun times.
Maybe they were just having a fight.
Oh yeah, maybe. A lot of teenagers in black hair and nail polish battling each other. I was one of them. And Connor, what about you, man?
My first show that I went to see was Eagles.
Oof.
Original lineup.
That's a flex, man.
Isn't it? I know. I mean, I've got my mum and dad to thank for that.
Yeah.
But it was one of those ones where they were coming, and my folks are huge Eagles fans, and they said to us, they were like, look, we're going to take you to see them, me and my sister. And they were like, because they never come here, and for all we know, this might be the last time that they come as the full band. They're getting older, blah, blah. True enough, it was the last time they came as a full band, because obviously Glenn Frey died. I mean, it was amazing, like seeing those harmonies live and all that.
Totally.
It was amazing. But I remember sitting and watching them, and there was some guy that was like behind us. And do you know, it's one of those ones where you get bands like, because they're like a country band, right? And there's a certain point where a band gets so popular that BAMs show up. Right? Do you know what I mean? It's like if you'll go to most gigs, you know, and even if you're going to like if you go to the Hydro or something like that, it'll be relatively the same people that are same kind of people that are showing up seeing a band. But it's when you get to the stadium level where you start to see, oh, is that a band? There's BAMs. There's BAMs here to see this band. And there was this guy that was like behind us who was just like holding like three, you know, like he's got 1 pint here, 1 pint here, and 1 pint, and he crook his arm. He's like, I fucking love yous. And he's like spilling beer over me and my sister that are children. And I just remember it, man, just being like, who's this guy? Because I didn't know being drunk was or anything at that point. And the guy's just like,
Yeah, I always remember learning Life in the Fast Lane on guitar.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're, 16, 17 or whatever, and I remember learning that song, and I was like, when I learned that song and I could play it flawlessly, I was like, I am fucking amazing.
Aye.
Like, oh my God, man. Loved it. Aye, nice one, man. That's good.
Stuck in a